Divine greetings, ones and zeros, zeros and ones, boys and girls that are now men and women, kings and queens, gods and goddesses of this spiritual divine matrix. Welcome. My name is Clay. And today I want to share continue sharing the process that I had begun in part one of this series, which is duality in oneness. And one of the things that is that I noticed coming into this message is the suicide rate in Nairobi, Africa, and it's increasing. At the time that I saw the video, they had reported that this past weekend there had been something like 20 something to 30 something suicides. And I'm reminded that of my own attempt to commit suicide, of my own thoughts being chronic to the degree where I did not want to be here on earth anymore. And as I'm reminded of that, it goes into, or my mind goes into describing the age that we're in. So in this age that we're in the age of the knowing, they would say. The age of Aquarius is the age of the knowing. It's highly technology. It's high technology. And in high technology, people have the tendency to not be in tune with themselves. Instead of going inside, they go outside to the technology to soothe them, to solve all our problems. And one of the reasons is that we as a people have been indoctrinated to not realize that the human being is also a technology. The human being, as it relates to consciousness, as it relates to human consciousness relative to spiritual consciousness, is the highest form of technology there is. So with that being said, and looking at the suicidal rate increasing, one of the things that is causing it to increase is the resistance within the human being. So as I describe my own resistance, and the resistance, before I describe the resistance, I want to remind myself that the reason why I came here is to have an experience. And it is in having an experience of remembering divine source, remembering soul contracts, remembering the connection that I have in divine source that makes me a creator, that makes me a smaller source of the divine source, that makes me a God to the God. As I always remember mother, so to speak, always remember father, so to speak. Honor thy mother and thy father, so that thy days may be well in the earth. In understanding that, I know that there is accountability that I have in the energy that I use, right? So, having gone through a schizophrenic break and having to hold myself accountable for the energy that I use, it means that I have to look at my trauma that led to the schizophrenic break. And that trauma is, in accountability, is something that I planned, as well as all humans that I come in contact with, all humans that are within my soul contract. We all planned it so that I would have this repercussion. I would have this karmic appreciation. And we all have the karmic appreciation to be have. We all have it to be had. Every human being made their plans before coming here with Source, with God, because we're all co-creators with the Creator. And what we did is we planned our life in divine Source so that we may come here to have the experience of remembering who we are. And upon remembering who we are, we have the experience of being divine. We have the experience of being God. We have the experience of being Source. We have the experience of holding ourselves accountability to unseat the trauma, unseat the wounds, and those wounds we call demons. Unseat those demons so that we may have a joyful experience. In my case, as I've said on previous videos, one of the traumas that I encountered as a child, as a 2-year-old, I was molested. I was sodomized as a 2-year-old. In that process, I had forgotten that I had been sodomized. And this is how the ego protects the trauma, protects the pain, protects the wound. So in protecting that though, I created a mask for myself. In creating that mask for myself, I refused to accept the accountability of what it is that I came here to do and what had happened to me. Because when something happens to you, traumatic, it is for you to expose it. And in exposing it, trustfully, it is received as the truth. If it is not received as the truth, it is still best to expose it, because then you won't have the burden to bear as to not holding yourself accountable, as to not speaking your truth, as to harboring lies within yourself. And as you harbor lies within yourself, you deteriorate your integrity. And when you deteriorate your soul's integrity, then it will reflect upon the body, and then you will have diseases. In my case, I did not hold myself accountable. And in not holding myself accountable, I had the schizophrenic break at 38. That is when, at 38 years old, that is when the lies that I had told myself, that is when the demons that were not being unseated within me, that is when the trauma that was not being therapized, that's not a word, the trauma that was not being given therapy, those traumas that were not being given therapy to make me better, the antidote of the poison that we all take. If you don't use truth, love, light, beauty, goodness, these positive things as the antidote to remove the poison, then that poison is going to become chronic. And when it becomes chronic, as in my case, it's a schizophrenic break. In some people's case, they become bipolar. They become ill in their mentals. And one of the symptoms of taking care or not taking care, one of the symptoms of the outbreak of those chronic diseases is one wants to take their life. A person wants to end their life. The demon wants to end the life that it has. And in that case, that demon will be ungrateful. Most of the times, the demon is going to be ungrateful, because that is the nature of the demon. The nature of the demon is to be ungrateful, because it is designed to demonize, right? So it will never accept that it is being demonic. Now, that takes me to the oneness in duality, and particularly as it relates to family, because I had a family of a mother and a father in the household up until I was 4 years old. It was at 4 years old that my father left the family, abandoned the family, and I was not accepting of the truth that he had abandoned the family, and that is also a part of the trauma that was in my soul in this lifetime that became chronic. And with that being said, the oneness in duality, there are certain words, certain ideas that we hold as humans. And one of those ideas is natural and synthetic. There's the natural man, there's the synthetic man. And an example that I gave is that there are natural polymers. And those natural polymers can be used to manufacture natural products. However, when you synthesize those polymers, when you use fear to have an understanding of those polymers and then make products from those polymers, what you do is you synthesize it and you make synthetic polymers. This is how we come up with plastics. So plastics are not real. Plastic is a definite or definitive illusion. Every plastic product is an illusionary product that's showing us that we've stepped into a new realm of development, or you could say a new realm of underdevelopment, because plastic is something that did not have to be. It is not a real product as it's defined in Google or defined in the dictionary. It is a synthetic material, meaning that it is not real. So all plastic products are a result of synthesization. So they're synthetic. I want to remind myself here that also when a person is being synthetic, what it means is that they're using fear as the energy that produces the thing, because each thought produces after its own kind. So if you have a fear energy, that fear energy is going to stimulate fear-based thoughts, right? If you have a love energy, that love energy is going to stimulate love-based thought, and that is going to be the natural or the mentality of a natural man. Typically, the native people are more natural people as opposed to the colonizer. The colonizer is more of a synthetic minded person. So they come up with abusive things as opposed to caring things, right? So there's the natural and there's the synthetic. Along with that, another oneness to be held, and let me go back to natural and synthetic, in arranging or in holding the oneness with the natural and the synthetic, one has to understand that you must be more natural than synthetic. However, the moment with a natural mind you judge the synthetic thing, you become synthetic. So it's always to have a balance. You must respect the synthetic, respect plastic. If you don't respect plastic, then you'll throw it anywhere, and it's going to throw it anywhere on the earth, and it's going to pollute the earth, and then you're going to have cancerous behaviors according to those synthetic thoughts, right? So you must respect it and use it appropriately. However, know that you're not standing under a synthetic principle, meaning that even if you use or when you use plastic, you know that this is an illusion. The moment you forget that it is an illusion, then you're living in an illusionary world, and you're going to harbor and receive the illusionary karma for that, for you to transmute. Because it's there that you put your energy in. You put your energy in a plastic, illusionary, fearful thing, and we are here to transmute that. So the more you put fear into a thing, the more it's going to return to you so that you can correct the behavior. And people look at it and they say, okay, there's this person has received cancer in whichever part of their body. as they receive that cancer, it is for them to recognize that something in their spirit, in their soul, has become chronic to the degree where it is killing themselves, right? It is deteriorating the body. So then you, if you choose to, because we have free will, you don't have to choose to recognize it. However, the truth is going to recognize you. So you ignoring how it is that you came to have cancer is no excuse for the cancer not to be. It is going to reward you with the energy that you put in there, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. As we would say in Jamaica, what fear can be unfear. So you come here to do a thing, and whether you like it or not, if you don't do that thing is going to do you, because we are omniscient, omnipresent beings with the co-creator, and God is never going to give you more than what you can bear, because that is what you ask for. As a God, God has to respect God, and that is how it works. We as like-minded beings respect other like-minded beings. We as enlightened beings respect other enlightened beings. We as enlightened beings respect those who are asleep. It is the ones who are not awake that do not respect, do not know that they are in love with the ones who are awake. So looking at the oneness in duality, there's the natural and synthetic. There's the infinite and there's the finite. There is the masculine and there's the feminine. There's the feminine and there's the masculine, right? The feminine is the receptive and the masculine is the creative. Now, this is one of the understanding that really helped me, because I was so masculinated. I was so in the paternal world, not paternal, in the patriarchy world. I was very patriarchal, not understanding that there needs to be a balance between patriarchy and matriarchy. And as African beings, as native beings, what we typically trend towards is matriarchy, because in matriarchy, it is understood that the woman or the feminine is the one that has the memory. The feminine or the woman is the one that has the instructions. And the masculine or the man is the one that carries out the task to be done. That is the creative energy. And we all, as both gender, men and women, have both feminine and masculine energy within us. So that is how we listen to ourselves. And as we listen to ourselves, we create natural things. So we listen to our natural thoughts. We listen to our natural instructions that we have in divine source, in divine source. We have the natural instructions within us. And when we abide by those natural instructions, we produce natural things. We do natural things. So love is very natural. Love is the natural thing. To have hate is unnatural. To colonize people is an unnatural thing. To welcome people and share in the oneness of love, that is a natural thing. In the sharing, in the trading of currency, in the trading of that which is perceived to be yours, for example, between a man and a woman, there's trading of energy, there's trading in the body. As there's sexual intercourse, there's trading happening. When that trading is done in a natural way, you're going to produce natural emotions, natural energy, natural love. It's not going to be synthetic. There won't be much agitation and aggravation. Not to say that there won't be any, because we're here to unseat the demon. We're here to heal the wounds. We're here to heal the trauma. So when a man meets a woman, when a woman meets a man, they will be faced with trauma. We all have trauma. It is being in a natural state of mind that will allow us to not traumatize each other as a colonizer and the colonized. However, it is to have a natural relationship. Another type of duality that I want to talk about is the old and the young. And this, I'm talking about these relationships because this is what the family unit is made of. And if you don't understand these different aspects of life, you won't be able to function as a family. And the family is the number one technology for humans, because as a singular person, the flesh is the highest technology for that individual, the highest technology for the earth as a progeniting force, or as a propagating abundance force. The number one technology for that propagating in abundance in the infinite is the family unit for humans. If you look in nature, there's some kind of family unit, some kind of arrangement that is there that works best. In the human form, it is the family unit. So the family unit includes the old and the young. Now I look at it as the old is more feminine and the young is more masculine. The old is more receptive, the young is more creative. The old is infinite, the young is finite. The old is natural, the young is synthetic. Now this is to be had in the frame of mind of duality and oneness. I am not saying that all young is synthetic. That is not what I'm saying. I'm putting them in a way where one can understand it dualistically, as I have come to understand it dualistically. And if you don't share these thoughts, because there's many ways to see the truth. There's many ways to see the truth. If you don't agree with what it is that I am saying, like, comment, subscribe, share if you dare, and we can have a conversation as like-minded beings. Because as something to note, there is another way to see light. A person can see light as darkness. When a person thinks of positive, they can see that positive as darkness. They can see that positive as feminine. There are many ways to see it. However, the heart will tell. True heart coherency will tell what it is that that person is truly saying, what it is that they are acting out, how it is that they are behaving, what they behave, because you are going to act and be according to what it is that you have in your heart. Nothing is not seen. Everything is seen. Everything is out in the open. Everything is an exposure. Exposure is infinite. God is infinite. The demon is finite. The demon hides. The demon protects the physical. The infinite exposes the physical. So that is why we have a limited time frame here in the flesh, because the flesh will disintegrate after a while, after the chosen while, because we all chose how long we're going to come here and have this experience in this particular flesh. And that is how I'm going to end this share. And again, like, comment, subscribe, share if you dare. And each one, reach one, teach one. As I say, Ashe, Amen, and Namaste.